Portion of this video is sponsored by Motion VFX. All right, so this is me back in 2015, a little less gray, a little more hair, and a little less weight, reviewing the very first Apple Watch. It is pretty eerily similar to the Apple Watch today. Things were great back then, are still great, and things that weren't all that awesome are still not all that awesome. And now that the Series 7 is pretty close to its 1-year birthday, I'm wondering a bit if Apple has a bit of an Apple Watch problem. So right up front, I want to say that the Apple Watch Series 7, and this might be a giant surprise to you, so spoiler alert, it's the best Apple Watch Apple's ever made, because it's the newest. I feel like I should say that with the drawl from Tennessee and say good morning. That's not surprising. You would expect that. And I've had it on my wrist for almost exactly a year, and like every Apple Watch before it, I have thoroughly enjoyed using it. And even though Apple like to tell you, and they will, the website claims it, the Series 7 is a complete redesign compared to the Series 6. Listen, we can be honest with each other, we're friends, is not. At least the design changes that come with the Series 7 do not make any noticeable difference in my day-to-day use. I noticed the screen size like the first day. I was like, oh, it's bigger. And then I never noticed it after that. But the biggest feature that Apple's touting is, again, that screen. And I've said it publicly. I'm John Rettinger, and I have a display problem. Even for a display on my wrist, even if it's high quality and big, I'm usually a fan. And that's what the Series 7 brings. I've got the largest version. It's a 45mm version. Again, the largest one. And it's like 20% bigger than what we had with previous Apple Watch. And whether or not you notice that difference comes down to what you're doing along with the watch. So if you decide to set your watch face something full screen, one that goes right up to the edge, then you will see how far the screen reaches towards the edges. And if you do that, I think it looks great. Aside from that, I don't notice it. Like I said, after the first day, I use the infographic modular. I've been using that for years. The text is a little bit bigger, and the watch face is a little bit bigger, but it looks the same. I'm still checking notifications, tracking my fitness. That bigger screen does not seem like a giant selling point to me at all. It is of almost no use to me. Other changes Apple added here was faster charging, and that is definitely true. It does charge faster. That's awesome. But I don't know if it's correlated to the fast charging or not. My battery life on the Apple Watch Series 7 has been the worst for me of any of the Apple Watches. And as I was going through and doing this review and started thinking about battery life, I figured I should go back and just check my battery health, which you might not even know you can do on your watch. Just go to settings and go to battery and click the health thing. My battery health is at 89%, which seems very bad for a watch that is not quite a year old. In fact, some of the guys here at JFL have Series 6s, and their battery health is better than mine. I'm sure there's a correlation here, but there are oftentimes I look at my watch at the end of the day and I have like 4% or 5%. It's got into low power mode. I've never had that issue with other Apple Watches. Sometimes I'll turn it off, turn it back on again. Hopefully that will fix it. It might be unique to mine, but battery life has not been amazing. And I should say it's also with always display turned on. So I am going to let you guys in on a bit of a secret. When you see pretty much every YouTuber do things like this, or this, or this, you probably ask how long it took them to learn how to do that. And the answer is actually 0 minutes. We've got a hack, and it is called Motion VFX, where we can download pretty much all the plugins that make us look like we know how to edit very, very well. If you're looking to step up your online video, Motion VFX has tools for pretty much everything. We've been using them legitimately for years. You can go back, I think almost 6 years on the channel. You can see them sort of be in almost every single video. They're amazing, they are awesome. We legitimately use them, and if you do any sort of online content, you owe it to yourself to check out Motion VFX. And if you want to, we'll put a link to them down below. I'd love to tell you that other parts of the watch are very different, but I think that'd be a bit of a lie. The watch is basically identical to the Series 6, aside from the screen. And just like in past years, even a year after, it's generally held up pretty well. It's not scratched, it's not broken, it works like it should to this day. It's probably thanks to new crack-resistant glass, but I've never had any other watch break, so it's hard to say. Now look, I'm not trying to say that the Apple Watch Series 7 is bad, because it's not. In fact, I'd say it's the opposite. It is the best smartwatch on the planet, and right now it's not even close. From the amount of features, health sensors, and third-party support, the Apple Watch is still in a league of its own. But I still can't help shake the feeling that Apple's in a bit of a rut with the Apple Watch. And I said the Series 7 is great, but even today you can say that about the Series 6, the Series 5, and really a Series 4. These watches started off strong and haven't changed much, and I can't help but feel like the Apple Watch has sort of plateaued. And maybe this is like a typical Apple move, like they give you the same thing, and they give you something different, you want to buy a different thing, right? They create a problem and then sell you the solution. If we go back again to that first Apple Watch in the Series 7, they have the same basic design, still no third-party watch faces, interface, digital crown is largely the same, and what you do on the watch is largely the same when it comes to notifications and third-party apps. Battery life is still generally about a day, although maybe I'm unique here. And capabilities have certainly changed. The watch is now faster, has always on display, LTE, more health sensors. But I can still only go about a day between charges with those. Fundamentals of the watch haven't changed nearly at all, but it does make this sort of a very refined, but albeit boring product. Now, it's not to say nothing has changed. I think the place where Apple has excelled the most is when with the health features. I know a lot of people who bought the watch just so they can fill their rings every day and seem motivated to be active. That's awesome. My dad is somebody who's had atrial fibrillation, so he uses the watch for testing for that all the time. He sleeps with the watch on. For him, the Apple Watch has been an absolute savior. And for folks that need the health features like him, that's awesome. I got Apple Watches for my mom and my mother-in-law for the fall detection now. It can call in an emergency. Those are amazing. I'm not trying to undersell the importance of that. I'm more talking, I guess, a design and flagship feature-wise is where I think things have kind of plateaued. But those health features, those type of things, I think have made the Apple Watch worth it for a lot of people. But where I struggle is with, I guess, the need to update. Sort of once I have a Series 5 or 6 or 7, I need to update to the next watch. Does not seem to be there at all. All right, so what can Apple do to fix this? What's the solution they could sell you to the problem they created? Well, if the latest rumors are to be believed, they might be trying something new this year. Allegedly, the Apple Watch Pro. So the current rumor is that the next Apple Watch will be the Series 8, and much like years past, it's not gonna be that different from the Series 7, what we got right now, what's on my wrist. But on the top end, there'll be a new category of watch that will take up the Pro name. This will feature the best of what Apple has to offer. I imagine when the Pro comes, they'll probably get rid of the Edition version of watches. The biggest change looks to be the design, and it's not going to be circular, unfortunately. And we're not really clear what this means. Mark Gurman, who's got a really good track record, was the first to report on these new rumors for Bloomberg, and all he knows, the design won't be the squared off like we were expecting with the Series 7 that John Prosser leaked. And again, it won't be round. Instead, it'll be an evolution of the rectangle shape, like we've had for the past 7 iterations here. Whatever evolution of rectangle shape means. Some have speculated the top glass might be flat, and the sides might be round-ish, or maybe there might be more boxiness, but not actually flat. But all that is just straight speculation. It should at least be a new design on the really top end. Along with that, the screen should be getting bigger again. It won't be a night and day difference, expecting about a 7% bigger screen. But if you're coming from a Series 6, this might be a very noticeable change because it should look about 14% bigger from that. And the material the watch is made of should also be different and more high-end. Right now, get an Apple Watch in aluminum, stainless steel, and titanium. This Pro Watch will feature a new version of titanium that's even more durable. I'm crossing my fingers they bring back the ceramic. I love that white look. Aside from that, the inside of the watch should be getting upgraded with a new battery that will last longer, and the processor should be updated to the S8. But why? It's a big question. Features all sound nice, but what is the Apple going for here? Before we got any word that this watch might be called the Pro, it's originally reported this watch to be targeted towards more extreme outdoorsy crowds. Someone who needs more from their watch when it comes to durability and capability. And that is still the case here, but it seems Apple is just gonna be marketing it towards a wider audience and just the adventure peeps. And I think this direction makes a bunch of marketing sense at least. Not so much marketing this watch toward the adventure crowd, but rather splitting the Apple Watch in different segments. As Apple created the watch, the only difference between models was really size and material. So if you spent $1,000, sure you're getting a nice stainless steel, titanium, ceramic, or even gold, but it's still fundamentally the same watch as a $349 aluminum version. But Apple making naming distinction lets them make a different product and take different risks with that. So will the Apple Watch Pro be the fix? Yeah, I'm not so sure, but I can easily see this being the road that makes the Apple Watch a bit more exciting. It's going to let Apple experiment more and try new things it wouldn't necessarily be able to do with the lower end models. There's more headroom because of the price. So I love the Series 7. I use my Apple Watch every day. It's become invaluable for me for notifications. It works, and it works great. Doesn't really work any better or greater than the Series 6, and for that matter, really the Series 5, minus some health stuff in there, or even the SE that's out right now. It works, it's great, it is a commodity at this point, it's a utility. I hope that Apple brings some of the wonder back to the Apple Watch and brings something cool and new we haven't seen before. We'll know sooner rather than later.